So I chose a wind tunnel for my final capstone project because I've always loved aircraft and I always wanted to do something with that at CSI, and I thought this would be a great capstone project. So right off the bat, getting into just the beginnings, you can see we had two carpenter squares here to line up all of my plexiglass into right angles after we had it cut over at Ace Hardware using the SolidWorks drawings. And so I was able to form that into the expansion cone. Ended up being made out of a tomato guard we found. We found it had a good circular shape, and so I got that, and we attached that to the back end of the wind tunnel. That's the completed section there, and that's the expansion section once we had cut it out. And there's the test chamber and the contraction cone laying on the table once we had put it all together, as well as the power supply. So you can see where we started to affix the expansion cone to the full thing. Now to draw the air through, we used this 12-volt DC motor that you saw at the very beginning of the first slide. This was a particularly challenging part. The smoke machine was actually melting the tubing I had initially planned to use, so I came up with a temporary solution with the hose. I knew that wasn't going to work though. So here's another test, just showing how it was going with the initial tubing. It looked pretty good, but obviously there was a lot to be done there, and I couldn't leave it like this. So what we actually ended up doing is swapping this black hosing out for a much thicker vinyl tubing. It was clear, and that's much more heat resistant, and it also improved the thickness of the smoke that was actually coming out at the end. You'll see that in the next test video coming up here, and that was overall a huge improvement for the whole project. So even though you can't feel it, the clear vinyl tubing here in this video, it was much more resistant to the heat. It did not melt or get burning hot like the black plastic tube did. So putting that in the beginning there gave a good buffer zone for the hot gases coming out of the smoke machine, and also gave us much thicker smoke coming out, as you can see here. So the final step was just to drill into the fully assembled tunnel once we had shrink wrapped the expansion cone, so that we could get a good, smooth, gradual expansion out the back end in a circular fashion, And this is the final test where you can see the smoke actually flowing over the model, and you can't see very well here, but you can see the low pressure zone above the model, so it works.